And we're back skywatching on July 4th, 2025 on the 4K Skywatching podcast tonight. Just going to hang out, watch some fireworks explode. I'm hoping to see what that looks like on my thermals. That'll be interesting. And yeah, just chill. About to eat some killer food my wife is making. I have this mast as high as I can get it. Been around it for a while now, so I'm kind of used to operating it. The good upgrade I did was the little stick I put out there where it has the heading indicator. There's one section that locks on the bottom, so it goes up 7 sections, and this is 6 sections up. So the other one I'm going to play around with. Before, this thing it's kind of intimidating and scary to operate because there's some busted aluminum in one of the tubes. And when it goes up, since the tube is busted, it takes you up with it. And you just have to hold your weight backwards on the ground to force kind of another tube to go up. That's kind of why I mess around with a lot of WD-40. So we have a view from the 2K dome camera, the UFODAP looking up at it. I was messing with that, but that would trigger a lot of recordings because the white snake thing would move. So I have 3 dome cameras that are operational right now. I think 13 4K video cameras, radar that's on standby. I also have 6 thermal devices and 6 night vision devices, but only some of them are working. Getting a call, but I don't know. Fuck it. I'm going to take it. Take it on my phone. Hey, Terry, what's up? Hey, Terry, I have to call you back if you're watching. My phone answered it, and I can't talk through my phone. Let's look something else here. All right, let's get this guy popping in. I'll call Terry back in a few when I chill. These are great clouds to skywatch in. Now that works killer. that lines up. Let's flip that guy over here. There you go. We'll see you in chat, Terry. As we had called Terry Hall back, and since my phone is, oops, since my phone is hooked up to that guy, it answered. So it was funny talking to Terry through the Droid speaker. That's actually pretty damn cool if you think about it. Yeah. So this guy, I'm tooling around with him. This thing is, the black one is a tank. But then I ordered all these different doors that open. So what's on them are these magnetic doors. I stopped that project about 6 years ago. And now I picked it up and I'm rebuilding that thing. So yeah. I'm hoping to hear back from the FCC soon. Test. Yeah, it's hooked. Chat's hooked up. I don't expect a lot of people. That's cool. I'm just waiting to eat food. I'm going to document fireworks with all the cameras. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got some other weird stuff I've been working on with Nellis. I'm going to arm the UFO DAP and put that on a target. So, let's switch to that camera right now. So, let's see. So I will zoom in here. And then let me just go to that whole thing so it's easier to see what the hell's going on. Yeah. Let's see this. Recording. All right, so that thing's gonna, I'm running UFODAP OT and DAU version 2.24. I do have 2.25 and 2.26. I don't know why I'm not running them, but I'm just too lazy to uninstall this and then reinstall that. So let's see, that's up. Let's see. The fireworks shows are supposed to be starting at 7:30, and oh, that got something there. It's probably going to go psycho on me. And this thing also has a UFO positioner where it's filming. So now it's recording clips and still recording. It needs to reset. I think I got it tripped up because I'm recording too far up. There, it's reset. I don't know. We'll just let that run for a bit and see what the hell that happens. And let's see. I also have the Cosmic Watch running, so if something happens and we get hits, I got that. Let's see. On the lower radar system, even though I don't have the radar on because it says emit off, it's still working. So I'm going to flip back over to that. So even though the radar isn't on, I could still use it for practice. I gotta get to know how to use a lot of this stuff, but I'm just waiting until I get licensed. So it's fun to play with, and this is showing where it points. Before I had the indicator on this, and that's the shows where it's heading. Before I had that, the clouds and whatnot didn't move right, so I didn't think it was authentic. And when I got that, now when it shifts, it works properly. So I'm going to safely wind it around so it doesn't get snaked, and make sure the wires don't get caught. I just have barely enough wire to go all the way up. I use cameras to watch it when I'm turning it to make sure nothing gets pulled, or you know what I mean, so everything's cool. Okay, so that's about where I want to point. Yeah, that's this direction here, approximately where I want to point at. Now the rings here, this thing has a range of 48 miles. I think it's more, a little more to the right there. All right. Now, let's see what that sees. Oh, and this freaking problem. When I was going to power it up, the compressor died. And I'm like, God damn it. I had the cheapest compressor you can get. I got that one that was $69, and it's just like a 2-galloner. So I went and got this DeWalt one. And once this is pumped up, this can pretty much power enough air to go through that entire tube. So yeah, there was some money I didn't intend to spend. So yeah, that was kind of my happy 4th of July. Whether you liked it or not, you are going to go buy a new compressor. So if you're going to do it, get the right shit. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Happy 4th. So now let's get what that sees. Because that's going to, the width of this, of what we're looking at right now in radar view, is going to be the same direction pointing of Chandler. So I'm pointing towards Gilbert, and in the distance is the Santan Mountain. So I'm pointing southwest. So anything that goes over this horizon will show up. And then I have the dome cameras. What I want to do is, since I went out skywatching with Melinda Leslie, and she's just a great skywatcher. I can't say enough good things about her. She's really smart. The Skywatcher crew with Jake, they should have someone like her on the team. And that comes with experience. So, yeah, any Skywatch with her is going to be a good skeptical person that's knowledgeable about what is in the sky. And she isn't easily tricked. And when she sees something and she says, I saw a triangle, I believe her. She saw a triangle. If you guys watched the last podcast I did on Chris Donald and you got any questions, bring them up and we can go through them. Because I had a lot of questions. You know, I was pretty skeptical of it all. And then he keeps recording stuff. And every time it's like, well, no, it's just this. And then he records something else. And it's like, well, now I just don't know. I kind of have given up. And the last thing is UAP. So the stuff that I think is that Chris is recording is probably about the size of this microphone head or so, a little bit smaller. And it looked like it was white in the one video that I did blow up. And there was energy coming around it. And it was just mesmerizing. Now, that the work I did on his stuff, I can mess with that because that's my own individual stuff, and I won't get a copyright strike for it. So we'll kind of maybe I'll search around for that. We'll switch around back over here to the system. Yeah, I think I'll get that Nellis stuff queued up too. That 8K Nellis really uses up a lot of memory. Chris. Well, maybe I want to wait a minute before I do that. That's funny. This is a slow motion crop of that blue orb, whatever it is. I have no idea. But it's small. It's not huge. And these are filmed on a semi-regular basis up in Scottsdale area. This is the type of stuff they talk about on Skinwalker Ranch. And some of these shows, I mean, Corbell, he'll get on all these shows for you know a small amount of an interesting clip. None of his stuff is longer than like a few seconds most of the time, and then he films the screen, and the news goes, "Hey, that's the shit. We're gonna cover it." There's stuff going on here. Melinda's got stuff. She just doesn't have recording equipment like I do, but it's fun to investigate this stuff. And then for once, somebody films it, and it comes close enough, and you're like, "Is that what some of these are? Is what a standard issue UAP orb is? It changes colors." Apparently, there's records from Skinwalker Ranch that came out that a red one had killed some of their animals. It's kind of interesting. So the word on the UFO street is, if you see this type of blue orb, don't go up and touch it. It can transform into a red one. Apparently the red one's good. Then you can touch it. I don't know. It was funny when I first started seeing this. We were talking about fishing nets and stuff. Show up at the Skywatch with a fishing net. And then like when we were little kids, we'd collect insects and shit and then put them in glass jars and pretend we were scientists studying these crickets. And one of the best ones was we had, what the hell are those lightning bugs? Collect those in a jar. They didn't live too long. But yeah, this thing is weird. I don't know what he's got, but needs to have this thing watched with the NVR. He'll collect a lot more of it. Some of the stuff is off in a distance, flying around. This thing came close. I wonder. Now this is on a hill, so I wonder, does this fly around the individual houses? Because then it just gets into houses in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, Paradise Valley. It's just regular houses, and every third one is a pool. And these things are flying around at ground level. Isn't somebody else seeing this and taping this too besides Chris? I mean, he tapes his stuff at his friend's house too. So it's not just Chris. So I understand the grass area where he filmed it in relation to his property is kind of an area where it kind of goes up to a certain hill. But yeah, me and Dan, when we walked up that hill, it took us, I think, taking a couple of breaks, about 25 minutes just to safely go up there. And when we got to the top, the rocks were kind of like, be careful, go down the damn hill. And then Chris lased us. And I think Dan had a light. I had a blue light. I think he had a green one. And you couldn't see anything when you turned them. It's on Clive's documentary, the evidence. So we wouldn't go out in the field and do stuff if we see it's interesting. So what I'm doing with Sedona is just started. I imagine 3 or 4 more trips up there to check out what in the hell is going on there. All right, I gotta get. I gotta turn something on here. I gotta turn this off. Just want to say, hey, Victor, thanks for joining us from Texas. I've seen one area of Texas that's bigger than most countries. Got a hell of a lot of floods there. When we have a storm in Phoenix, I read on the news about tornadoes and whatnot across our great country, and they get slammed too in weird spots. It's like when a storm comes in, it really does a hell of a wreck on the country. Let's see if anything's blowing up yet. Let me switch this other camera over to. I think I'm gonna buy a fourth capture card so I can have a fourth input. I got all kinds of computers feeding into here. So behind here, I was thinking about bringing my other Alienwares in and putting them to work. So when I'm filming something like this, even though I can't hook it up to UFODAP, they will, after it's done recording, you can have UFODAP scan this stuff. I mean, I could show you right now how to open up an instance of UFODAP, even though I have one running, and scan through any video that's already saved. So if you do a blind sky watch and just have a camera and it's just pointed up on the sun, I don't recommend filming straight up. I just don't. And not at a 45-degree angle, because that whatever film is probably too far away. But about like this, about 65-degree tilt. And leave it on a tripod. Let it record for a couple of hours. And then when you're done, have it run through UFODAP. So for once, you don't have to sit there and watch every damn second of that if you're just recording like blue sky and stuff. UFODAP will now start going through there. Some of the stuff it does and the power it does is amazing. I can't believe that it's not a standard tool in ufology, but not too many people are doing field research and ground stuff. Everybody's, talking their podcast of another person's podcast and so on. Here we show the results. We go out and do the work, just like you guys. There's people watching now, and you do sky watching from, you're holding your own from where you're at. This is NVR number 2, and this one is pointed north. I don't really use the pan and tilt much for it. I get in trouble when I do. I end up screwing up the thermal. See, for instance, this guy, when I was on the pan and tilt, I covered this a few sky watches back. The sun was coming up in this direction, like you see the mouse. Hopefully you can see the mouse. And sun came up over and over and over for days, and it burnt in this thing. And you know what? You can't see it no more. Now, it's not good, and I'm not telling you point your thermal cameras at the sun ever, but these cameras survived hours and hours and hours of it. So if it does happen to you, and if and when your thermal camera is pointing at the sun, it's not the end of the world. So we have these cameras here. This middle thermal, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to change the IP address of it, and then I'm going to run it through UFODAP, and then I'm going to run it through the NVR. And how that works is, man, I've had this stuff for so long, and it just didn't click with me. UFODAP can be hard to hook up, and because it's difficult. It's a scientific instrument. It's all on network IPs if you have problems, passwords, initialization, uninitializing. It's a minefield when you first get into it. Then when you get into UFODAP, then everything's got to work with that. But what I found is the best thing to do is have your camera not plugged into your NVR. If you have like your best camera, if you have more than one, plug that into a PO switch. Doesn't have to be a big long one. Could be a 4-port. And then your NVR, plug that into your router. Plug your PO switch into your router. You could probably plug your NVR into the PO switch too. It won't blow it up. It just joins the network. So the thing is once it's plugged into your router to your camera through the PO switch, and then your NVR is, now you're on the same network. So what you can do then is run your camera through UFODAP, and just like normal 24 hours a day. But with your NVR, you go to device search through your network, and you see that IP, it'll just will come up and you hit add. Then you log in, and boom, this is recording everything through that camera. So this gets the best of both worlds, because not only are you using UFODAP to sort through whatever you're watching in the sky, but if it records something that's just a little bit and a clip stops, you go, damn, what happened? Well, it's all on the NVR. So you just look at the time of the NVR and you go back to it. So it's a safety backup. And I would do that with every single camera you have. until the network congestion gets so thick that you can't operate certain stuff. I mean, I overload. I plug everything into it and overload it. That's why maybe I'll get some other computers in here. Looks like this one has been assigned, I think, white hot. I'm sure the fireworks will just be, well, interesting when something pops up. And how dark is it now? Let's go back to UFODAP and see if it's collected anything for us tonight. Well, it's recording something, but that doesn't mean it's a UFO. Let's see. This is all. Nope. I'm noping out on this. That's funny. We're going to hit stop. All right. We're going to reset the target on this. I'm happy with the path performance. Let's see. Get this down more so that eventually some fireworks will trigger the system. Let's go another direction. I like that it shows you the azimuth and the elevation and the zoom, because on another edition of 4K Skywatching, I was capturing something. I learned my elevation was off, but it was about 45, and then you could repeat, go to the same damn spot, and that's what's excellent. Because if you have like an area that you want to study, then the azimuth and all this stuff is right there, and it's getting recorded, so you can go back there all the time. So it's a great. It does a lot of great stuff like that. All right, and I'm going to switch to a different DVR here. This is what the radar pole sees. And this would be another good one to put in front of the UFODAP, then have it run through here, and then see what goes across. But if you do that with as many cameras as I do, you won't have any free time because you'll constantly be going through folders and folders. I haven't ran shit in 2 weeks because I've been editing Chris's stuff together. But when I put the system, a lot of this to work, and I concentrate on this, eventually I discover something weird flies by again. Now I'm kind of on to the best practice of what to do with this stuff. I just heard something blow up. All right, this is more like it. It's a camera looking north. This is one of those entire sky cameras. This is gonna be expensive. I think, I don't know. It was about as much as my DeWalt compressor just for this camera. So, but it's fun to collect this stuff. What's the camera looking east? And that is above the tree line now. If I look around and I move the radar, I'm just above the. I'm at the palm tree level, so I kind of liken it to this camera winding up. That this is like a a telescoping palm tree kind of way, made out of aluminum. So I got my bases covered. I got everywhere. Um, and I catch meteors and stuff like that too a lot with this. Victor is from San Antonio, Texas. Welcome to the 4K Skywatching podcast on July 4th. Great clouds tonight. Last night, storm came through, and I had the dome up this high, so it's kind of like when it's cold and you get in the water and you slowly get in. That's how I was working the pole. Well, wait a minute, that didn't sound right. That's how I was using the mast. I was going up, slowly, getting used to it, making sure the wind and all that. I ended up 6 bars like I do now, and I have these storms coming in, and you could see the tree shaking. You could see the camera going like this, and I said, I'm taking this down just in case, because the night before I saw in Las Vegas, they had poles down. They had a massive something blow right through. Good to see you too, Marcus. Happy 4th of July to you. Yeah, I try to set this up right. Now, if the radar thing doesn't work out with this, with the FCC for any reason, the mast work is done. So I'll put something else up there. I already have backup plans in my mind. A dome camera. What the fuck? Another, I can need more gear. Another dome camera, but I've been looking for something like this. One that has 45 power like the 2K one does. But it's also dual optics, so it has thermal in the other one. And the thermal's never, they don't really have zoom power in the glass unless the glass is germanium and made that way. But that'd be cool. You're zooming in on something, you got a wide angle of it on thermal at the same time. I've seen these cameras, they're like $3,500, and I didn't want to pay that much money. And I'm like, every time, because King's Rule, as soon as you buy something, the next week it drops 20% permanently, and you go back, can I get that 20%? Nope. You're noped out. That shit happens. Yeah, beautiful 4K live. I reloaded UFODAP. Now, I should have 2 cameras working. Once I had a bunch of cameras connected from one computer to another. Now, that's a trick. It's all down to you got to have your IP addresses and ports configured right. If they don't talk, it's always IP and port issue. That's what comes down to. UFODAP is 4 things once you get it up and running. Your username and password. So the first thing is, if you're having trouble, log into the thing with the browser. Log into that before you try to get into UFODAP software itself. And that's where you have your username and password going. And then after that, it's port and its IP address. Those 4 combinations are what always goes wrong if UFODAP happens and you can't get working right. So if you have UFODAP problems, you let me know. I'm hearing explosions to the south. Oh, so, yep, they're starting here. See, I might have to, all right, so it's about to start in. All right, happy 4th. Aim. Okay, I'm all the way to the right. I can't go any further. Well, I've got something over here. Should be something over here too. Let me see. Let me check the other cameras. I don't know. It's a little bit early to be setting them off, but you know they said 7:30 to 8, so I guess they're. But the problem with my cameras is this camera's a 4K. Damn it, sorry, a 4K night vision. Okay, so at night it's still a lot of light. It doesn't get totally dark on these type of cameras. Oh shit. All right, something just blew up in front of UFODAP over here. So let's move that a little bit. I know exactly where that is. Cool. If they're going to blow them up right in front of me, then I'll move the radar camera too. What the hell, right? Let's see, so that's over. I had a shit to take care of. Hey, Armando, how you doing? No, I didn't know that was going on. I mean, they might have had it, but I didn't have an opportunity with to look around with the Zoom. For Christ's sake. What is this stuff? Don't watch that, you'll get dizzy. Now that's how you should be later if you're fucked up and you're drinking and you're getting messed up. That's going to be many a times, I have to admit. I've seen stuff like that in bed. Many times. Hey, Terry, good to see you. You stop the UFODAP and you get something better. NBR. Trying to watch a few systems at once. Shit, I'm trying. Yeah, I when I hooked up the mic, I had issues with this. I need to use this from another system that boosted up. All right, cool. I'll just have to speak closer to the microphone. I've been trying different stuff and seeing what works. Hey, Terry, how you doing? I'm going to drop the, hold on, I'm going to do something here. Yeah, put that. All right, added that in. I hope I fix this. If not, yell again and I'll try and adjust. Um, yeah, we went to a Texas Roadhouse My steak was excellent. Um, Man, it was expensive. I think it's like 40, $50 for that shit. But hey, gotta pay, you gotta eat, right? Um, and Rhonda, she got the, I think, 8 ounce something, and it came back. It was so dry, it was dried out. So hers wasn't that good. But since everyone we seem to know has birthdays in June, it's like we're out celebrating, eating at this place, and I don't know how many times I've been to the goddamn Olive Garden now. I haven't been to Olive Garden for like 4 years, and then I'm like there 3 times in a month, getting fat. Fuck it. I know how to get rid of it. Don't eat. Yeah, happy 4th of July to all of the viewers. Fireworks are a tricky thing here. They sell this stuff at grocery store parking lots, and I think why? Because you could one match and this place goes up. It doesn't take much to start a fire here. All right, let me get the dome camera on that one. Or what the fuck am I doing? Close-ups on some of these. But yeah, we always have neighbors that have those rockets that we're seeing here that go up and do that. We're seeing them right down the street. And I haven't seen any yet, but I've seen that stuff a lot. And you can't buy those at the grocery store. That's different type of stuff. And yes, every year, and then tomorrow we'll wake up and find out whose house burnt down. Whose neighbor, poor people had their roof burnt. It's cool as long as they do it responsibly. Of course, Terry, every couple of weeks now. Not as good as the stuff Chris is seeing. Wow, there goes a good one. I'm getting abducted type stuff he's seeing. All right. Yeah, this is the one over at Gilbert Park. So they're blowing up stuff, but there's no houses around. So I mean, and there's probably fire departments sitting around watching too. So, gotta have some fun. But yeah, man, it was wild. In South Dakota, you could buy cherry bombs. You could have everything. When I was a kid, I used to read those karate magazines and shit. Chuck Norris was on all those. And I wanted to order throwing stars and stuff. And it would say, you can't buy them in California. It's like, what? You can't buy a throwing star? If they watch a movie, you can't kill people with a throwing star. It bounce off them. The worst it'll do is put a tick in the eye. Maybe take out an eyeball or something. But yeah, it was illegal. We went to the Roswell anniversary. I think it was the 40th one. We drove out there and we didn't plan it very well. And halfway around, somewhere in Roswell, we were running out of gas. There was no place to 24 hours at a gas station, midpoint between Phoenix and Roswell, and somewhere around there, we had to pull over to a gas station and sleep in the car until the gas station opened up because it wasn't 24-hour pumps. Fuck. But anyway, went out there. It's kind of boring. And so we bought some bottle rockets and did what, most responsible people do is we shot them at each other. And because, it's a tradition of firing these things at each other. And it didn't last long. After a couple of bottle rockets went off, one of them sparked a fire in the grass field where we were doing it. So we stomped that out and said, let's stop, because I don't know where we were. We might be burning down the crash site on the alien grades and desecrating them. Fuck. So we bailed on that. And then we did the responsible thing. We shot them at each other on the road. Or you should do that. All right, it's kicking off here. Next hour is going to be all kinds of 4K fireworks. If I can get the dome camera on them. Oh yeah, everything is illegal in California. Out here, man, not in Arizona, man. We have still a lot of stuff you can do. You can go in and buy any type of gun, as long as you not did something wrong in your life. What do you mean, Truth Seeker? Pick up what? Which? UFOs? Yeah, but I have to turn I think. Well, that's the theory is I can. Yeah, it's fire season here. Some stuff going on. Cherry bombs. There's a lot of people walking around with no thumbs because of cherry bombs. Good stuff. All right, let's see. I'm watching this stuff on several TVs, so I'm trying to find the best angle of shit blowing up right now. Let's see. Yeah, now that's what we're talking about. Now they're firing them rockets, and that might trigger some UAP because UAP never come up unless you got rockets. And once you fire them up and start doing explosions in the sky, you find out that you're living under the dome. But we can't say that because that's trademarked from another channel. Pick them up? I don't know. I don't know if I'd pick them up. I don't know that. I don't know. I haven't used. I don't have an. I don't have the experience with the radar to tell you that if it would pick them up. But tonight would be the night to find out, right? Well, I just leave it off. The only time I mess with it is I'll test it once in a while. If a storm comes in, I'll look at the Doppler. It matches the Doppler from AZ Family. And I go, this thing works. And then I turn it off and wait for the letter of approval, and then I'll have it for
All right, how's it doing now? I'll turn this down a little bit. Switched over my headset. For some reason, this thing timed out. We were watching. I don't know what we were watching. We were watching fireworks and tracking. I don't know, drones filming them. I don't even know what the damn rules are anymore with drones. Every time I go to fly them, you got to look up what the laws are and shit. It seems like it's easier to get radar at your house than it is for you to get drones running around the way you want. All right, I'm going to spin this thing around and take a look at it. Take a look for glass. All right. Right now, what we're looking at. Oh, wait, let me switch over to. Oh, wrong one. Flip the view of this camera. So you can see on the map that I'm looking towards. I think the Estrella's there. So yeah, that's. All right, I'm gonna go see if there's any food to eat. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I'm back. I grabbed some food my wife made. So this is what I'm having: hot dog brat and some mac and cheese. Then I'll check out what's going on in this Nella switch. I don't know about those rockets and stuff that they launch on Skinwalker Ranch. Every show's got to have these rockets. So I'm thinking, what's the demographics for this? And it seems like it's the age group that watches Scooby Doo. It goes to monster truck rallies and believe wrestling's not rigged. It's like the little boy from like 9 years old to 13 years old seems to be who they're marketing that. Like there's rockets. Yeah, tonight's an excuse to eat a hell of a lot of food. Eat twice, maybe three times. Yeah, then after this, I got some corned beef and then some pie. Speaking of pie, hit that likes button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We do on the ground research here. All kinds of stuff goes on. That's affirmative. My cat is freaking out right now from all the explosions. And she's sitting kind of hunched over in the living room, like, what's going on? My cat is the best barometer of storms I've ever seen because about 2 hours before a storm, when it's going to rain, she freaks out and she goes in the hallway and she won't move. So I can go troll her and go pet her in the hallway and she won't move. And then about 90 minutes later, sure as hell, a mud storm or whatever those things come in. And she's right. Every time. It's, I don't know if she registers the barometric pressure or something with that cat, but she has never been wrong when it rains. If she's in the hallway, rain's coming. But I don't know. She just doesn't like the explosions. So my kitty baby squeaks. Man, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, eat up. I couldn't just. What I wanted was chicken fried steak, or is it steak fried chicken, whatever the hell. I haven't had that in a while. Cheddar's is really good. Steak fried chicken or chicken fried steak. I don't know if you guys got a cheddar, but it's homemade food. Like Roadhouse, I was amazed how many cooks they had in there. They make everything from scratch. It's a great place to eat. Yeah, Texas Roadhouse, man, eat up there. That's good shit. Cost you about $100 to walk out of there with a couple of people. But that's awesome. Now that sounds good. Mushroom chicken bacon sandwich with bacon. Oh, and chili cheese fries. Man, you get some good taste there, Amelia. What we're looking at in the distance, that blinking on and off is the South Mountain Radio Tower. Um, so, for instance, what am I doing here? Right there. That's where it is. It goes out of this mode, but I hit right there. That tells me it's 13.2 miles away. This thing is fucking cool. So what that did is those blinking lights are 13.2 or something like that. You can also do that with Google, Google Maps and stuff. But this radar thing has it exact. So, like, let's say I get that thing working for UFOs and stuff. I push a button, it goes over the UFO, then it puts it in this, it's anti-boat collision stuff. And then from there, I can know exactly how far away it is, if it's a UAP. So, taking this pretty damn serious with the gear we're using. and we're just throwing our other stuff at it. I have people right down the street here in Phoenix, and you probably have them there in Texas. But we're landlocked here. There's no ocean here, so I have people right down the street everywhere that have boats in front of their house. And these boats cost them at least 20 grand. And there's only two lakes here in town they can go to. It's like the hell is it? Swirl Lake. A couple of them up north. They're not really big. And there's so they buy a boat in the desert. They use it maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And then after a while, it just sits in front of their house. They never use it. Really, not practically. So if you deduct whatever 20 grand times the 10 times you took it out, it's 1,000, 2,000 bucks every time you took that thing out. But here we're looking at a camera for my radar pole, which costs less than that damn boat. And I use this every day. This is a tool now that's part of my Skywatching inventory. And yeah, this is a new thing that I'm using all the time. Now, those guys with the boats, that's cool. That's your hobby. But my hobby is put to work on UAP. So people think, hey, that's crazy what you're doing. Well, maybe, maybe not. This looks like a, let's see, possible helicopter. I think that one is. Yeah, you're not supposed to point at kitties either. They don't like it when you point at them sometimes. Canary Island, North Las Vegas. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of noped out in the last. Ooh, that's cool. The last Jurassic Park. It just kind of gets every one of them is a Tyrannosaurus Rex eventually chasing some people, and they're always really close to getting them. I like that movie Sin that just came out. It's a period piece from like just towards the end of slavery, and it's a great production where there's these black gangsters up from Chicago somehow got this money, and they never really tell you how. So they bought a bar, and this was during Prohibition, so they had their own alcohol. And that was the thing. Like back then, everybody had corn beer. I didn't even know of corn beer, but he had his own alcohol. So he started his own bar, but then he didn't know these fucking vampires are going to show up. So it takes about an hour to introduce all these people, and then it's really cool because it's very well done. And then these vampires come in. I usually don't like vampire movies, but this is really well done. So watch that movie Sin if you get a chance. That's a pretty cool movie. Well, if that's your thing, man, if that's your thing is boats, great. Boat out. My thing is radar pulls. The telescope. It's like telescoping, whatever the fuck you call it. Palm tree. And you can get one of these too if you live not in a homeowners association and you want your own portable thing, a skywatching pole that goes up and down. Uh, it's cheaper than going to contact in the desert. If you go into contact in the desert, that's a little more expensive than this pole is. And my pole was delivered by certified delivery by, and it's documented, so it's not like I got ketchup on my face. Certified delivery by Alien Blanco. The guy's name is White Alien, born in Cuba, and at some point in his life, it became his destiny to drive that pole down from Reno, so I can put it up and dig a hole in my backyard and throw a lot of money at, so we can watch this. All right, I finished up with dinner. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Josh never gets old now. I'm full. Been wanting to watch F1. I just seen I pretty much stay up on what's out there. I'm going to switch gears for a second and get into some of the work I did on the Nellis video. And that didn't work. Um, let's see. All right, I got one of them working. And all right. All right, so here, um, so here's what's going on with this. I've been working on this Nellis stuff for a while, on and off. It's kind of a thing I've been doing. And fixing this, I used AI on this to clean up the audio. So, for broad this, P1013 says the aircraft 357 with check in inbound by 18 degrees elevation. You don't know what type it is. Also, like an A10. Guess I'm trying to figure out what they're saying. A couple people went to jail over this. The good stuff happens in the next portion, this one. And as you can see, there's a lot of distortion there. It's hard to read. What they're doing is they're testing radar on this. Right up high now, going like straight up. Really, isn't it? Don't tell that to the commander. Did you know that when you watched it? They were saying, don't tell that to the commander during this part of it. Now, why? Because they think it's a balloon or because they don't know what this is? So, what I've heard from people who talk about this is what's going on is that's a craft that the U.S. has. And this is what I was told. I don't know if this is real or not. But that's a U.S. craft that they're testing out at one of these S sites, S30. And the people that are watching it are not cleared to watch what they're seeing. They don't have clearance to see it. Isn't that crazy? It's so top secret that you can't even watch it. And these are civilian contractors that work for the government that are monitoring some of these sites inside Area 51. So some of the hills you see with the mountains and whatnot, and there's radar on top. That's one of those type of tracking sites that makes this type of video. And there were a couple of people, according to my source, in that, and they were trying to get radar lock on it. And that's when that line that goes across the screen is some type of bizarre feedback of them doing the radar. So right now we're 5 minutes into that particular video. So what I'm going to do now is do the side by side here. So what you're seeing here is two different videos that I'm working on. I go to 501 or so. And what the one on the right doesn't. I turn the audio off. So what you're seeing here is the image on the left side of the screen says "Don't tell that to the commander." That's the 4K AI thing I've been working on with subtitles. The other one, I can turn those on or off. The other one, and that's not auto-generated stuff by, let's say, Google or YouTube. This is done in the editing software. And then the other one was I turned the captions off, and then I worked it through some different filters. I saved the program because I like how I do the filtering. The one on the right is much cleaner, and it's upscaled to 8K. So take a look at. You can see it's a lot cleaner. It doesn't have the pixelization except on the left and the right corner. But other than that, the 8K one is skipping because it's at such a high frame rate. It's kind of choking. What the hell I'm doing. So anyway, that's something I was doing with the Nella stuff is cleaning that up in 8K with the captions and whatever they were saying, and then gonna put that out there so you guys can watch that. And if somebody wants to use this, they can use that copy because it's used over and over and over and over on television all the time. So we might as well have a better cleaned up 4K or 6K um, version of the video. North Mountain. Where is North Mountain? What state? Too much going on now. That's way over in Tempe where this is blowing up. All right, I'm going to check on the radar real quick and make sure the cabling isn't twisted up, and then I'm going to spin it around again. All right, I went outside and I checked the radar pole to make sure the snake wasn't tangled. The snake is the communication lines that come down from it that go into the wall. It's almost maxed out. And down at the bottom are two levers. Um, I just kind of noticed that today. Down at the bottom are two levers, and one of them's hooked up to the air compressor. And when you turn it, it sends air into the max. You better know what you're doing, because you don't want to keep putting air into it to blow the damn thing up. Because the amount of pressure that this new DeWalt compressor has is quite a bit. So you want to be careful with that. The other one is the release valve to release pressure off. So when I turn the thing, I want to make sure that the snake doesn't hit any of the two things and do that. And then it decompresses, it gets picture. So I think safety wise, I need to build some kind of shit like a plastic thing that goes over it. You know, like those things electrical things have for ring. So that way, when the wires go around and spinning it, it won't accidentally hit any of the gauges because I can see that is going to happen. Matter of time with Murphy's Law, and that's going to get busted and fucked up. Sorry, North Las Vegas, northbound. So you think there's a, what did you say, a UFO base at northbound, secret base? Yeah, there's something going on. Um, something going on north west of Sedona, about 8 miles away. And I did a quick investigation. A couple, and there's like 14 to 19 helicopters there. Okay. My friends just rented a helicopter to go to Sedona. I'm not going to tell you how much it costs, but it's goddamn expensive. So if you were going to put 14 of these things up every night for 2 to 3 hours, and they're military helicopters and God knows what, you know, we're talking, you know, 30, 40, $50,000 an hour, and to put those up. Um, so I accounted for maybe some of those. These are optical illusions that we're seeing, and the only place that could have them, I could find a flight radar, was Prescott Airport. But they're not going to have, and that would be Cessnas. That these are pilots that are getting their hours up to 10,000, so they can get a commercial pilot's license. But what we saw are helicopters. So the only other thing is a Fort, was it Navajo, Camp Navajo, which is west of Flagstaff, and that's an Army training center. They don't have infrastructure that I know of for 19 helicopters. So this whole thing makes no sense. It pisses me off, because I got to figure it out now. I got to figure this out. It's like, you know, when you can't find something, you go to sleep, you can't sleep because you're like, I will not sleep until I figure out where I lost something. Well, the same thing with this. I can't sleep until I figure out what the hell all those helicopters are doing. So I figure, you know, Skywatch from Prescott Airport, looking east, um, one over off the highway next to Camp Navajo, looking south. Eventually, about four or five, the computer industry call them hops or searches, about four or five of these hops, looking north, then looking the other direction in the south. I should be able to then triangulate where the hell these helicopters are. Whose helicopters? Now, are these even helicopters? They do fly over Sedona from time to time, but are these objects looking like, is this like the Jersey drone situation? Or is it like where we had these objects fly over Palo Verde nuclear power plant and for a couple of days and they just call them drones or UAS? We don't know what these things are yet, but they're up there every night, all the time, and I'm determined to figure this shit out. In a few months, by the end of 2025, I hope I got a bearing on whose helicopters and what they're coming from, because nobody can figure out whose shit that is, and we're paying for it if they're helicopters, right? Oh yeah, yeah. That crash thing is weird. That one and the Miami one, that thing, that alien or whatever. Well, I got to turn that alien that they found and walked around Miami. I've seen video of it, and it looked like a giant crab, like something out of, I can't remember. Dave Altman, I think he has a picture. It looked like an arachnoid, something like. And then why the hell were like 500 cops who showed up at that shit? All right, for safety reasons, I put all these screens on to kind of watch. So yeah, we're shooting dead north now. Are we? Yeah, I guess we are. Holy shit! I'm used to seeing that tree, but I'm above this tree that's down here, but I'm above the tree now. So I got this thing at 6 bars. Alrighty, so we will continue. That's looking towards. We're looking from Chandler, looking towards Scottsdale. So let's say this is Sedona, and I'm looking north towards the helicopters. So the next position is I'm going to want to be over here where Prescott is, and look this way towards those helicopters. Then I want to be over like where Camp Navajo is, and looking south this way. The only way you can actually get north and look south is there's these campgrounds out there. But for me, that'd be about a 4.5 hour drive to drive all the way up to Flagstaff, then head towards California, then drive south, and then pitch tent. But I might. See, that would be step five, hop five. I'm a determined motherfucker. Yeah, George is one of the few good people out there. I don't know about that Jeremy guy. There's a rumor that I started that Jeremy could be his stepchild or something. There's got to be a relationship with these guys. Yeah, Lockheed mentions that they have some type of shape shifting craft that even heals itself in the skin. Gee, I wonder where they stole that from. It sounds like they just cloned the Roswell skin. That's cool. You do what you can with the resources you have. Right on. All right. Keep this radar forward. Ready? This can't spin round and round and round. It it stops, I guess, where when I put it around Santan because it's not a 300. It's a Pelco pan and tilt. This is on, and I'm using these analog controls. But hey, it works. It's freaking heavy. The pan and tilt's like 8 or 9 pounds. The radar pull itself, according to the manual, I think it says 450-pound payload at the top. So that's the size of about one, maybe two Americans. Who is that? According to Charles Barkley, that's like one woman from Mississippi. Something. He always makes fun of big women. He's a funny, weird dude. Do you guys watch Beyond Skinwalker Ranch? I tried getting into it, but that dude, I just don't like that dude that much. He's kind of like a put off. I'm like, oh god, he's kind of that XCI guy. There's too many XCI, X this, X military that come into the field with trust me, bro. I'm tired of it. The UFO field is becoming saturated with supposedly retired intelligence people from the intelligence community. We have that is it Jamie Rodriguez, if that's the guy. The guy retired from the CIA. We got the guy Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, another guy from the CIA. And that's at least they admit they're from the CIA. And then Nick Pope, he worked for a while, but he's actually pretty cool if you talk to him. He's not. He's been around a while. He's nothing new as far as whistleblower. And then all these guys, the whole Jake Barber thing, they can't tell balloons and birds from UAP. So to me, it looks like well, we have narrative control. I won't get on News Nation, but they will, and they'll go out and make a fool out of Skywatchers. That's why I think the whole thing is if we get too close, if something shows up on this camera, and all of a sudden, oh shit, that's going to go viral. Because I had my video go viral from the Phoenix Lights. That here comes the narrative control people. That they'll definitely get on Ross Coulthard's speed dial, go on TV, make an ass out of all Skywatchers. That's what I've seen from Jake Barber's Skywatcher group is an institutional incompetence. They can't be this dumb. How do you fly a helicopter and you can't tell a fucking balloon from a UAP? And then he flies like every helicopter, not just one. He flies them all. So that just tells me you're doing this shit on purpose. There we go. It's not now. That's illegal. Okay, that's what I was talking about. This is. Hey, I sound like my friend from South Dakota. That's illegal. I say, yeah, Shane, but everything cool is illegal. What? Some house right over here is launching these puppies. I can see all down the street. But I don't bother with neighbors. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to shoot up stuff like that, but it happens. All right, that's what I'm talking about. That's my type of crazy. Good. Wait for the next one. Yeah, if I get up to Vegas, been up to Vegas about 8, 9 times now. Went up here to Skywatch with Prophet Yahweh a while ago. He's a cool character. All these guys that say they can summon UFOs are full of shit. Look at the videos I played from Chris Donald tonight. Could you imagine uh, those videos that Chris has of those orbs in his backyard? Now, could you imagine if Chris Bledsoe had stuff that close? His cult would be even bigger. Well, maybe there'd be proof that he can talk to them, but all of the stuff I've seen from him is out of focus, or their aircraft, or it's the International Space Station. I tried, but I looked into them. It looks like it's a full of shit cult or something. And then if Corbell had orbs this close, he would milk that shit out forever. That guy has mastered monetization of ufology. Yes. Hey man, thanks for no problem. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know if you watched the channel or not. I have a lot of equipment. I mean, a lot. I have enough equipment that I could do my own skinwalking ranch with the friends I have here in Phoenix. You don't need that stuff, you know. You got YouTube and social media. All right. If I was UFO Karen, I would turn in all of these people. I've recorded you, and I have your numbers. I know where you live, and you will be held uh, responsible for doing this. Because the only place you're supposed to do this is over at Gilbert, in a park, which may be the one by the palm trees, but not these guys' houses. This is all legal fireworks you can't buy in town. But all that stuff is fun stuff. But you could burn a house down. You need to do these live sky watches here more often. I think like the crowd energy, you get people that are lucky with UFOs and they just have good luck, and you get a whole bunch of them, and then something might show up. I think that's better than rockets. It's just getting positive energy from people. You don't need to pray and summon and channel the shit. Hey, let's just see what happens with the run. I don't know why that air comes up. That's too large of a space. Something's going to go to hell. I'm running UFODAP, which is a UFO data acquisition project. I think that's what it stands for. We run a lot of stuff. We've got about 13 or 14 cameras running. For three dome cameras up and running, one that needs repair that's old, and three thermals that run at all times. What I want to do is get some of those cool night vision binoculars Leslie has, but that'll be sometime in the future. Those are like $3,000 or $4,000 if you want to get a serious pair. I was talking to Dave Mason about that, and he said if you want to, and yeah, he's the guy who knows. I mean, uh, he's got like 6 or 7 of those uh, Gen 3 type devices that are really good. And he gives me a lot of advice, like how not to get screwed with people using them because they'll blow them up. But he said get the ones that are auto gated, which means if they have bright lights, it'll automatically shut them down without ruining the tube. So get the cheaper ones that aren't auto gated. That's what I'm hearing. I don't have that stuff. I do have other night vision, but not that type. That type you can't film with too, so I just want to have it for missions, for UFO missions. For one. Is your name Sal? Man, I'm trying to remember. 60 minutes. That was a while ago. 60 minutes. And I think I would remember if 60 minutes came along with Leslie Stahl and all those chaps. I don't know, 60 minutes vaguely. I do remember the Bubba stuff though. That was cool. I wish I had this technology when Bubba was around. That was cool. I drove after that thing, under it twice. Um, Me and Rhonda have a video somewhere here where we were driving after Bubba. And all we did was argue at stoplights. We couldn't catch up to it. One day I caught up to it and got underneath it. I don't know what it was. Armando, he's a semi-regular on the channel. He's the one of the guys who discovered Bubba, and he's also the one of the guys who identified it. Um, the first one he saw, the first Bubba he saw, what he said is, what do I got here going on? I got some chicken fried mess here. This makes no sense. Well, I hope you're not drunk watching this. Because the cameras. He said what he saw initially was a triangular craft with it was black and translucent, and it had a red light that was pulsating on it. And then later, he found that he saw with the telescope that there was road flares and balloons um, on at least one of the sightings. So that had to account for some of them. And that was our working theory too. That some of those sightings looked to be somebody using road flares and balloons. I remember calling all these balloon shops and asking, does somebody come in on such and such dates, because we had the dates, and purchase all of your black balloons? Like, do you guys remember a regular? And so I was doing like Quincy work on that shit. Didn't get anywhere, but at least you got to make the calls. I'm not. There was a few TV shows that came in, but they were always the day after they left. The thing showed up. That thing showed up twice a month. It fucked with air traffic. It was dangerous because if they were balloons, they put them directly in line with incoming air traffic. So that was again a flight risk, a flight safety deal. I mean, you wouldn't want to be landing at an airport and some yo-yo clown put up 30 balloons that are black with a road flare attached to it, and it gets sucked into the engine. It's like, gee, thanks, bro. Anyways, yeah, yeah. Well, I remember it was around 9/11 when that Bubba stuff happened because it was in '99, and then oh, then the 9/11 attacks happened, and I remember thinking, are these things going to show up now? Because they had a no-fly zone, so it was like, is this whatever this Bubba thing is? Is this going to start flying around now? Because if it does, there will be F-15s, F-16s that fly to intercept it. And no, Bubba quit, but according to my archives, he showed up again somebody's video about 5 or 6 months later. I don't know. I don't know if it was a mix of actual real UAP and then some clown comes in to muddy the waters with that shit nonsense and put it at road flares. It could have been both. I do know that red UFOs are flying around. This thing here, there's one flying around. That's not a road flare. So the red UFOs do exist. Every classification, every color is out there. There's orange UFOs, red, blue, green, all the colors, and then ones we don't even seem to have. There could be purple ones, but we can't see them with the RGB spectrum our eyes are limited to. And there's orange discs and silver discs, and never heard of a red or a green one too much. Different colors, and then for every UAP, there's something that counters it, a balloon or something that looks close to it. But professional skywatchers, you have to know the difference between real UAP, which we have examples of now, like from a lot of collections out there from Chris, me, you, everybody. And then we have balloons and shit, so we got to know the difference. And if you don't, then you got to go join Jake, because Jake hasn't figured that shit out yet. He's still trying to figure out whether balloons and whether not. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I had an angle indicator, and I wrote all that stuff down, but I didn't have the math ability to figure that shit out. You know, how do you? I mean, now with computers, oh yeah, yeah, with ChatGPT, we could figure all that out. It was basically, it went around the railroad tracks mainly, and it appeared to come from the demolished Fiesta Mall. That mall's now rubble, but it appeared to come from Fiesta Mall area. Somebody later came forward and claimed he launched them. He said he did it, and then he also said that he was responsible for the Phoenix Lights, that he let some flares off over in Mesa. I just thought, okay, they got a mentally ill guy who's here to take credit for shit. I don't know if I still have notes, but they're in this box. I have a box full of stuff. It's like old stuff. We got three people on who's doing that. Now, yeah, triangulating nowadays with computers, um, it would not be too hard. What's going on with this UFO death shit? For instance, this radar here, I can touch, and this will tell me how many miles. So the closer in I zoom, so I could, let's see, Armando, I don't know, maybe about that, maybe about 4 miles away. So the direction I'm pointing is the cameras, but you can get targeting, and then you can find out how far it is. So I would target like a person's house looking this way, and then we can do this with different stuff, and then with 2 to 3 different points, we'd be able to triangulate it. I don't. Sometimes. Oh, what's going on? I'm going to start recording. Maybe it's a satellite. Maybe it's a plane. Yeah, it's a plane going over. Looks like it's false. Yeah, I did triangulating on those using just. Remember those maps that they used to sell? I went to the grocery store. I remember going to 7-Eleven, and I went and I found all their Chandler maps, and I bought like 10 of them. And this guy looks at me, why do you want 10 of the same maps? And I'm like, for different sightings, bro, obviously. So every map had a sighting date. And there would be the people recorded be drawn on each map. So then to flip back to triangulation, I'd flip back through those goddamn fold out maps. It was an old school, still works, but now it's digital. Yeah, that I don't know what you know. What was incredible is if you look up some of the sightings back then, and they're still in the National UFO Reporting Center database, and then you start looking for that red thing around the same time. This thing was not only hitting Chandler Gilbert, this red Bubba thing, but it was also hitting Las Vegas, Texas, and Washington around the same time. Oh, come on, what did I do? Ooh, still got some players here. So this is what kind of bothered me. So if somebody's putting up this Bubba, they did it for 4 years in the Chandler Gilbert area up until at least 2003 on a regular basis. And then, according to the National UFO Reporting Center, somebody else was doing this in other cities. So, were these people talking to each other? Was the guy responsible for putting them up? It is a guy because women don't do this stuff. If a guy to put up these things and they're man made, is he buddies with the guy doing it in Las Vegas, Portland, and Austin, Texas? I think so. I think who the hell does a hoax that lasts for a decade on and off never comes forward? Who funds that? Who has a hobby of saying, I may or may not take out some planes in the sky by throwing up this trash in front, hanging from balloons? I think that's illegal. I think lighting stuff and sending it in the sky is illegal in Phoenix now. But that's crazy. So my friend had a pretty good theory because I couldn't wrap my head around it. He said, Tom, if these aren't UFOs, somebody's trying very, very hard to make us think they are. So maybe they're not UFOs, but somebody wants us to think they're UFOs. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Who would do it? And then you have to also factor in Gulf Breeze, Florida. This happened about, what was it, 7 years before us in 1993 in Gulf Breeze, Florida. The same goddamn thing happened. Why? Well, who's doing that? I'm looking at flight radar right now. Find out who that is over there. So just a second. All right. Whose aircraft is that? So I'm looking I'm over here about where it says Gilbert, and we're looking this way. That's looks like somebody went on a night flight. So is that this aircraft identified? That's him. So I think what we're looking at right next to that mouse is this plane right here, way off in the distance. Wow, that was fucking cool. Oh shit! I should have been on this screen. Something blew up right in front of it. That I think that's that plane, and that's like 12 miles. Yeah, some of those bubbles didn't appear to dive down. Some of them looked like they flew sideways and took off. Yeah, the thing seemed mechanical. Like it seemed like when it happens over and over and over, then it's almost like, well, this has got to be the military or somebody doing something. I think this is my guess as we're looking at this aircraft there. This is something I want to do next time I go to Sedona. Is when I see all these aircraft, I want to open up flight radar on the ADSB and see if I can find them on there. I couldn't. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but that'll be a thing. You see all these helicopters hovering there. Whose stuff is it? Now, if that thing stops and goes backward, then that's not that Cessna. I guess somebody must have maybe hired a flight, paid about $500 a person, and said, "Hey, fly me around the valley at night so I can watch the fireworks go off." That'd be a pretty good flight to book around here. Think about it. It's probably what happened with this flight. It's turning back. And looks like they came from Scottsdale. Falcon, no, Falcon Field. There's some weird shit flying by that UFO that. Well, I don't know who paragliding prospect is. Maybe that's Sal. There's about 4 or 5 regular guys. Good to see you in 2025. Good to see you guys above the ground. I gotta hit a stop on this UFO. That's gonna have a million files here. This turned out pretty much like I figured, except shit's working. I figured I'd have malfunction after malfunction. You for that malfunction is phenomenal. Uh, Sadly, that's how it works a lot of times. Ooh, there we go. God damn, that was loud. And I will be reporting you. UFO Karen has you under surveillance. And I'm shaking a stern finger, young man. I know you're only 7 houses over. You got that fucking boat in front of it, but you never use. Tomorrow, the air quality tomorrow will be shit. Major cities on July 5th suck the day after this because all the clouds and whatnot. Damn, you have a good memory, paraglider. I'm glad you remember a lot of that stuff. I've been through so much ufology and skywatches. That's cool. I quit after 2004. I got the hell out of this for a while. Took a break. My daughter was just nuts. I got custody of my daughter, so it was just hard to deal with her. So I just took a break from ufology and just worried about being a parent. Focused on that and family and shit. Then after a while, when she became an adult, and she's like, "Dad, what? You should go back to this stuff." And then after a while, like, "Oh, okay. Oh well, thanks, thanks, kid." Now I'm stuck in this fucking rabbit hole again. Got out of it successfully for 12 years. Sucked back in. All right, my mic is dying. Oh, I got another mic to switch to. Forgot about that. Batteries I don't have to plug in. Yeah, those military grade things are going to be the cheapest, the $2,500 uh, purchase, and then maybe the max I'd spend is about 3,600. I don't think I'd buy them used on eBay, but Dave Mason says you can pick them up sometimes for 1,500 bucks. It's very expensive, those night visions. So, Why is that thing moving? See this? This focus. This focus. There's something moving that's semi. Is that just a cloud? I guess it is. That was UAP coming in from it. All right, man. I'm gonna go. And I gotta pay attention to Rhonda. I've been on this damn thing now for 4 hours. But thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna have some podcast next Friday. I don't know about what, but it'll be about something. So I'm Tom King. I'm gonna leave you good people for the rest of your 4th of July. Thanks for coming. We'll see you guys at another edition of 4K Skywatching. Appreciate you guys. Remember, hit the like and subscribe, leave some comments. Tell your friends about this channel. It's proactive, transparent UFO skywatching in the modern age without budgets, where if I want something, I pretty much go and get my hands on it. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah, you were right. It was puff smoke.